vacation, we discovered this beautiful 17th century building or castle, now modified to be a luxurious hotel. And it is located in Contursi, in a small town of province of Salerno. It just happened that the owner is an Italian-American, and in addition to that, she writes books for children. So we were tempted to ask her for an interview, and she graciously accepted. Her name is Lucia Rosapepe, and thank you for accepting.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me, really. It's an honor. It's an honor.
Well, it's a pleasure for me too. I did not know that you were the owner, but we had met you some time ago.
Right, I think about over 10 years ago.
Over 10 years ago, yeah. Tell me, you were born in the U.S.
Yes, I was born in the United States. I'm from Providence and a Rhode Islander, and spent, let's say, half of my life there, studying, working, and then finally deciding to come here.
The formal education was all completed in the U.S.?
Well, in the U.S., yes, because I studied music. I'm a musician, and of course, as you know, when you're a musician, you study in various places. I've studied first I got my bachelor's degree at URI, and then I studied here in Italy for a year with a very famous pianist, Rodolfo Caporali of the Conservatory of Santa Cecilia. In Rome always. And then afterwards I went back to the States. I had won a fellowship to Connecticut College, and there I've completed my master's degree in musicology. And then I took just a little bit of a break because I was very fortunate to get a position in Providence College, and also in I taught in Bryant College. So I taught musicology, music history, and piano. And so I had numerous, of course, piano students, private piano students, but also teaching at the college level, which was, of course, my dream. And then in that way, I was able also to give concerts. And then I continued my studies with Richard Brodman in the University of New York at NYU. I unfortunately, was not able to complete my doctorate in pedagogy and piano performance because Mom died, and there was a moment of transition, and what I was doing was not enough for me. I needed to do something else.
You were a music professor for some years?
Yes, no, I worked, I started, let's say, in music, playing in the church choir. I was always a pianist and organist for our St. Mary's Church.
But you sing also?
But I'm also, yes, because when I was here, during the period of my mother's death in '76, I always sang. But my aunt said, go for a walk, go ahead and go, because I was very, very, very depressed, and so I was with them in Naples. And because I had brought my mother's, I buried my mother here, we have a tomb in the family, and so I decided to bring her here. And that period that I was here, I remained for more than a month. And my aunt said, go for a walk in the city. And so in Naples, take a walk, go and look at the windows, because I was very, very, very depressed. So I took a walk, and I don't know, I just found myself going toward the conservatory. And I said, well, I'm just going to give it a try. I'm going to walk in. And usually there are always the ushers at the door, and you can't get in and all this. There was absolutely no one. So I walked in, went up these long staircases, and came to the first floor, second floor. Finally, I found someone. I said, is there anyone here that is teaching a voice teacher? And the attendant said, there's La Signora Carcavallo, Thea Carcavallo, and it's the last room along the hallway, so I go all the way down there. And I knocked on the door. I said, excuse me. Of course, I interrupted the lesson. I said, can I enter? And she said, certainly. I said, when you finish, I would like your opinion to see if my voice is good enough to continue singing and in an operatic vein. And she said, well, why wait until after the end of the lesson? Let's go right to it now. And so I started, yes, I started to sing. And of course, she was very happy with the voice. We became great friends. I became one of her students. And I used to also accompany her because I would play in
and
her.
And now presently you do have some concerts.
And so with the relationship has always remained, because you have to remember that we lived through, we were very happy, very fortunate to survive an earthquake. We lived through the earthquake of 1980, and this also interrupted a bit all of my, let's say, artistic ambitions, and I dedicated myself to the hotel. And then, fortunately, I was able to encounter my husband, and of course.
Tell me a little more about that. Well, you came to
all right.
to Italy.
What happened was, it was all because of my mother's funeral. I was working. I was supposed to come up for the job, a permanent position at Providence College, and I remained here over a month. And when I went back, they said, "Well, you know, you stayed all that time." I was thinking maybe 6 weeks, and you should have come back after 10 days. And they gave my job to another person. So it was, I think it was all written in the stars. Yeah. As far as, you know, what I was supposed to do. So I decided, well, I'm just going to, I need something else to do. I was very fortunate because when I lived even the New York experience, because my aunt had a beautiful restaurant on East 32nd Street. So I would work there while coming up from Fifth Avenue, where from the Washington Square, where the New York University building where I went to was. I would just take the bus up, and I would stop at the restaurant and work with her, and then go back with them.
So how did you met your husband who owned this place?
No. My husband lives here in the area. I first decided to come here. I left my work. I left 60 piano students because I taught in Wakefield and Narragansett, and the children wrote me letters. They said, Miss Rosapepe, why are you leaving us? Aren't we good enough for you that you want to abandon us? So I really felt really bad, but I needed something for myself, because when I came here, this gave me the possibility to do many things. I love singing, and I started with lessons with Thea Carcavallo. I love the hotel business, and I started to learn the business here in our hotel because I worked, this was before the earthquake, and I worked with my father's brother who was running it, and I love the country, and we have olive groves. So I dedicated myself to olives and animals and all of this type.
Was this building really built in 1700s?
This building, yes, this building was built in the late 1700s. Not all of the structure now is authentic. We have had to knock down for certain areas and then rebuild them, but we've done it all in style. And I did all of the architectural, the interior designing, and my husband instead is a civil engineer, and he did all of the structural part. So that
tell us about the hotel. It's not an isolated place. It is on a rather maybe historic or prehistoric place where there is the spa or the springs of Contursi are well known. I believe even the Romans used to use this.
Well, this is it. The Romans, we have an area here right nearby that's known as Gualietta that has this plain right near the at the river basin. Very, very long. Unfortunately, during the earthquake, they built all of the industrial area there, but before, it was just a natural habitat, and it was just magnificent. In that point, which is only about maybe a mile away from here, all of the battles took place. We had battles that started, let's say, even before the Etruscans, then we had the Romans, and the capacity, and then we also had battles with the Americans, with the Germans here. And then afterwards, I'll tell you about an anecdote of what happened here with a Cherokee, Cherokee captain, who was the only member of his platoon living. And in Washington, they have made a mosaic of his
he was here.
He was here.
He fought here with the Americans.
He fought here with the Americans in a Cherokee brigade. They were all Indians, American Indians, and he was wounded, and he dragged himself for over 2 or 3 miles in order to get help, and then unfortunately, it was, the whole group was. I can't remember his name, and it was
so the waters.
Yes, no, but I just want to say what happens. This water, even in ancient times, has the capacity to remargin your wounds. So that before, not having doctors or camps, they would bring the soldiers here in our water, here at the Vito De Simone, in this basin, and have them medicate the wounds with our water and with these minerals, these sediments that are in the water, which we use now. Yes.
So the water of Contursi, or the spas, how do you say, the springs?
The springs. The particularity of this area is that every hotel that we have here has its own spring, and every spring has its own capacity. The springs that are next to us are a little bit warmer. Ours a bit less warm, but we have a certain capacity to cure psoriasis. We are able to, we have people that come in with sores, and when they have taken our cures after 3-4 weeks, they haven't got anything else. They just have to keep coming in order to maintain the balance in their beds.
So you have a continuous stream of clients throughout the
clients.
year, or is it only?
Yes, before this area was opened only seasonally. It used to be opened from May until December, let's say for the end of November. Now, instead, we work weekends, and as far as the hotel, we are working we're open all year round.
Tell me now, you seem to be a very busy lady with the hotel, with the singing, with the chorus.
Yes. With the country life too.
How did the idea of beginning to write about children come to you?
I think it was my mother. My mother always told me that the most important type of instruction was the instruction in the elementary school. And of course, I didn't want to listen to her.
Was it because she only received an elementary education?
No, she she didn't have a master's, but she was a business teacher, taught 3 languages, Spanish, French, and English. And she was a teacher, a high school teacher. But she had taught also in the elementary school. Because we moved various times, and so wherever there was in a position, she was qualified for it. But she came out with the deduction, and she was right. The most important teacher is your elementary teacher. You have a child in the wrong, and you can bring him, you form him for the rest of his life. If you give him a good, solid background, he will bring that along. We call it in Italian il bagaglio, the luggage, that he will have cultural luggage. And if you do that, I think is the most important thing. And so this always remained in my mind. And of course, I always loved children. I love to teach children. Not that playing games and that type of thing, but everything I do with a child has a meaning. I have to give them a direction, and I think you have to have give something of yourself to the person and have it continue. And so I think this is very important.
Last night talking, you said that you had one dream of putting together some kind of hotel for children. And so
well, this is it, of course. This is a dream that we will have to wait
your
and
dreams
see.
My
dreams,
true,
yes.
So.
Well, I do hope so, because it's something new. It's something. It would be a multi-function hotel where families come and take the cures, because these waters here are excellent for children, for extending the muscles, for inhalation treatment. It's very important. Imagine that my daughter was supposed to be operated on for adenoids. So I brought her to a specialist, paid the $200 for the visit and everything. The doctor started laughing at me because he said, you got you can do 2 things. Or I'll operate on her in 2 days, or else take your inhalation treatment. So I said, he said, don't you understand that you have one of the best waters in the world for this? And I made her take an intensive cure. Of course, not the regular cure, but intensive applications, and they shrunk, the water shrunk the adenoids. The child did not have to go through an operation, which is traumatic, And the important thing
So
is that,
you have
yes.
a direct,
So I have
close
no,
experience
yes.
with the water.
In fact, everything that we do here, I try it on myself. Not enough, you see, but because I should take a lot more massages, I should relax. But if I relax, the client comes first.
So how did you begin to write?
How did I begin to write? I started. I have a wonderful cat. This is my cat. Eno is my pussy cat.
That's his real name?
That's his real name,
And
yes.
that's a real cat?
It's a real cat. He's a mixture. He's not completely Persian, but he's a Angora Persian. He's just a bundle of fluff and hair. And he's a cat. I've always had Siameses and other cats, but I never had one like this. This one talks to you. And I come home and he starts going, and when he sees me, he even calls me mother. Mom. He goes, Mom. Yes. So we are, we've always had cats, and this one is a little bit
so
more
the idea of
particular.
the
Yes.
Eno Bambino, it basically had become
yes.
a baby for you.
Baby, yes, because this cat sleeps between my husband and myself and between the two pillows.
He's the boss.
He's the boss. He's the child. So
but how did the
thing,
switch came or come to you that
yes.
maybe you could write something about this cat?
Well, this cat, because being an American in Italy, of course, you know that we have La Befana here, and the idea of Santa Claus, Befana is the 5th of January. She arrives the 5th night, and then the 6th gives the children the gifts. She's the witch, the good witch that brings the gifts to the children. It's coupled with the Epiphany, and instead at Christmas time was dedicated only to the birth of Christ. Now with the, let's say, commercialization of television and everything else, Santa Claus has become very important. And about 6 years ago, I started having a day of, the whole month of December dedicated to Santa Claus. And we would do this at in another area of our hotel, of our bath area, and excuse me. Yes, that's okay. You'll have to. I have created what we call un percorso natalizio, which means that children come from the schools and even from the hotel. Of course, it's also a way of having people come in December, at least bring the family, bring the children. And we have Santa Claus there, and I have all different types of games for them. A basketball game, and we call it Babbo Basket, because Santa Claus is Babbo Natale, Father Christmas. So Babbo is the more endearing way of calling Father Christmas. And we do all of this. And from this, I said, I really don't know how it came about, but a little bit of indigestion maybe. At night I couldn't sleep, and
That's where the ideas
well,
come.
the ideas come, il sonno porta consiglio. And so I started with this idea, this story. It started going in my mind, and I would write it. And so finally came out with this little story, a little Christmas story about this little pussycat who is Santa Claus's big helper. Because all in their family, we will be showing it. This is called Eno, the gatto bambino. Il gatto bambino.
We will say. So
yes.
what is it about?
And it's all about this pussycat who lands in this toy store. He doesn't even know how he gets in there. And this lovely doll, Clorinda, grabs him and soothes him, calms him down, and says, "You can live with us here. Don't worry, we'll take care of you." He says, "I don't know how I came here." And she said, "You'll be with us and we'll take care of you." And so day by day, he grows up in the toy store, and he realizes that he has a great capacity of looking at the children as they go by the window, and he knows what they want for Christmas. So he says he wants to get in touch with Santa Claus because a young lady's going by, this lovely little girl. They had told her that Christmas does not exist, that Santa Claus would not come, and that the spirit of Christmas is dead. And she said, "I want to believe. Io sogno, spero, io credo. I dream, I live for the hope. And I believe that I will see le cose migliori, a better life." And I believe in this. And so the cat says, I have to get a letter off to Santa Claus. He writes the letter with the...
How about the idea that he realized he doesn't know how to write?
Well, this is very, because of course, because he's altruistic.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a cat knows that the cat loves you. Even if you mistreat him, he will always be faithful to you. And this is the thing. He uses all his altruism in wanting to help this child, wanting to help her to be happy. And so he runs off to the computer. He's starting to write the letter, and he starts yelling because he doesn't know how to write. And then he says, how am I going to get this written? And so, of course, all the toys help him to write the letter, and then the la tastiera, the keyboard, writes it for him. The computer sends it to the Babbo Natale, Polo Nord, the North Pole. And so he gets off the letter. That night, it's Christmas Eve, and everyone goes to sleep. The girl says, the young lady says, I'm going to believe in Santa Claus. I really don't care. I must, an anecdote, I did many times living here in Italy, the one thing is no. Everything is no. Want to do something? No. Wait and no. When the time comes, you can't do that. And so, truthfully, what I decided was that I have to write this, and it's somewhat of my life written in the song. So that I'm going to do things.
Of course, the story, I read
Yes.
it, and it's not the simple story that it attracts the reading, but also it is didactic and it's educational in the sense that it gives values. So maybe you have a song. You have injected the story with songs.
Well, I have 4 songs that I have written.
Obviously,
yes.
The musical background.
Yes, well,
serves
I wrote the music, and I wrote also the lyrics, so that this was another accomplishment that I really didn't think I was able to make, yes.
What kind of good example did they
Well, let's say maybe Io sogno e spero io credo is important because it gives you, yes, that's the next one, Lavinia's song.
Why don't we read it so that,
Okay.
well, this will be in Italian.
Sure.
But obviously, the story
Certainly.
is for Italian.
It's for Italians, but hopefully we will be translating it also. But it says, io non posso accettare, I cannot accept che nulla può
No,
negare.
read it in Italian.
Lo posso fare. Io non posso accettare che il nulla può negare tutto il bello che la vita ci regala ogni giorno, la speranza che riempie il mio cuore, dalla forza per sfidare tutti quelli che non pensano così. Io sogno, io spero, io credo che domani io vivrò la meraviglia della gioia che la vita ci può dare, ogni attimo vissuto con amore. And then this continues, una strada, yes, una strada un po' tortuosa, 1000 ostacoli da sfidare, facce buie che disprezzano il sorriso d'amicizia, ma dovranno incontrare la purezza dell'amore, e dal bivio puoi capire che il bene vincerà, that good will be the winner. And then, of course, one of the other songs that I'm, what is very didactic is that what happens is that Santa Claus comes, takes the cat, all the toys, and brings them to the first house. And the first house, Eno is very happy because he didn't realize that Santa Claus has to ask the cat to become his helper because the cat falls on all 4 of his paws. And so from up on the roof, Santa Claus throws down the toys, and he gives them to the cat, and the cat puts everything in order. So what happens is that house, who is this? It's Lavinia's house. And Santa Claus says, now is the moment that you have to do the most important thing in your life. You're going to have to give away one of your possessions that you love more than anything in the world for il bene di un'altra persona, for the good of another person. And here this other song talks about, amica mia, ti lascio qui a fianco a chi ti mostrerà tutto lo stesso affetto che io provo per te, così l'amore continuerà. Giorno per giorno crescerà solo il bene che tu sai dare a chi ti stringe forte al suo cuore. Amica mia, pensaci tu, con la dolcezza tu mi hai fatto imparare le cose più importanti della vita, la pazienza, il rispetto e a volte il sacrificio, l'importanza di ascoltare chi si fida di noi. e quanto gli altri burlano e godono fa piangere, ricorda con la forza dentro il tuo cuore, il mondo intero vincerai.
I think it's lovely because it teaches good manners
Right.
about love,
Love,
appreciate love, appreciate sacrifice and
Yes.
selflessness.
And this is something that we have to start talking about, because up to now, no one talks about this anymore, and we have
Here
to...
in Italy or?
I don't know about the United
Yes.
States, because I haven't been in the States for a number of years, but here in Italy, it's just becoming very, very superficial as far as,
well, you wrote another book also about the
yes,
Easter.
who stole the Easter eggs?
Who stole Easter egg? We would love to
This
go
is a wrap.
into that, but we
Yes.
would like to continue on the book.
Yes.
How many years? When did you finish
Well,
writing
this I started 4 years ago. I started with the story, and I wrote the first story.
Is it for sale? Is it to be found?
Yes,
somewhere?
we have an internet site, yeah, www.gatto.com. So just put il gatto bambino.
You know,
Yes.
even in the U.S., probably because it reflects the Italian culture, we have great books for adults, but not for children.
Yes.
And so it's in the U.S. If you're looking for a children's book for Italian American kids, you just simply don't find it. Obviously, they have access to regular American books, but Italian American books. And my wife, who was trying to specialize on this, she has a hard time in finding and locating Italian American books. So we were excited when we saw your books. And you plan to translate them?
This is my next project. Yes, I have all the projects enumerated. So
but
hopefully,
besides from the web,
yes.
there's no place your book can be found.
Well, no, because there's the sale right on the at the moment, no.
Is it
Yes.
selling? I mean,
Yes, it does, because you see, but I'm selling it as, let's say, internos because I have not truthfully pushed the whole situation
well,
yet.
we really hope with good success, and maybe we will have to meet again to see the success of this, especially once it's done in English.
Very good.
I would like to thank you very much. And this is the end of our program, and we hope to see you next time when we will have another Italian-American writer.